नमस्कार, स्वागत है आप सभी का एक बार फिर से एनसीईआरटी के लाइव फोन इन कार्यक्रम में। आप हमें देख रहे हैं स्वयं प्रभा के चैनल नंबर 31 किशोर मंच पर। मेरा नाम है तन्वी खुराना और आज हम बात करेंगे एक और नए टॉपिक पर, लीडरशिप फॉर स्कूल इम्प्रूवमेंट एंड स्टूडेंट लर्निंग। Well, we all know that improvement is required for the schools, for the universities, for all the educational institutions. Yes, but what all it takes to improve this situation, this scenario, and how important is the student learning? And for this, we have in our studio our experts. Let's meet the experts. We have Professor N.V. Varghese. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and let me wish a Republic Day. Happy Republic Day to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Happy Republic Day to all the audience. From my side, from everybody's side, from NCERT. And sir is the Vice Chancellor of NEPA. He is an eminent educationist, widely known nationally and internationally, and his major area of interest is improving the quality in education. That is such a great honor. Because he is here with us, so we'll try and go deep into this topic. Apart from sir, we have in our studio Professor Sunita Chugh. Welcome, ma'am.
धन्यवाद। सभी दर्शकों एवं साथियों को मेरा नमस्कार और गणतंत्र दिवस की शुभकामनाएं।
Ma'am is an associate professor and in charge of National Center for School Leadership, NEPA. So we are going to begin our discussion very soon, but before that, if you have any questions related to this topic, please send it on our YouTube channel, which is NCERT Official. The comment sections, you can write your questions, your queries, and sir and ma'am would be more than happy to answer all of them. Let's begin with our session, today's discussion. Ma'am, the very first question would be to you. Can you please introduce the topic a little bit for the audience's better understanding?
Thank you. We are privileged to have with us our eminent educationist, Professor N.V. Varghese, Vice Chancellor, NEPA. In today's talk, we will be discussing the concepts of school improvement and highlight the processes by which school improvement takes place. We will also get an understanding on the role of school leadership in school improvement. We will not only understand this relationship theoretically, but also try to see how to implement it at the institutional level. What are the action points for school leaders in the context of school improvement? वो school heads का क्या role है और school leaders का क्या role है, वो कैसे इस जो देश की education है उसमें गुणात्मक सुधार कर सकते हैं? What do you need to know as a school leader to improve your school? In addition, this discussion will also touch upon the role of school leaders in improving student learning. जैसा कि हम जानते हैं, जो ड्राफ्ट न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है और जो समग्र शिक्षा के अंतर्गत एक बहुत बड़ा हमारा उद्देश्य यही है कि सभी बच्चे सीख पाएं, तो इसी के विषय पर हम चर्चा करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, school improvement, that's the term, a very powerful term. What exactly do we understand by it?
Thank you very much. I should say that first I will start with, we use two terms. First one is school, other one is improvement. In my view, school is a place to prepare children for life. When I say life, it is for their future life. And school is a place for socializing. This is a place where people meet their peers.
Right.
Unlike in a family, in their household, where they meet mostly the elders or younger ones, school is a place where they meet their peer group. And you will find that they make friends, they establish relationship, both personal and social. And these relationships do not complete or do not finish or do not close when they leave the school. That those relationships remain with them perhaps till the end of their life. So it is very important, this socialization process. The role of a school as an institution is to create conditions to socialize, which include two dimensions: conditions to learn the basic skills and the basics of living in a community. I emphasize both.
Okay.
Basics of skills and also the basics of living in a community. It is not only a place to learn basic skills to read, write and arithmetic. They are very important, but it should not be confined to that, but also a place to learn about people, places, nature, about the country and the nation. So, combination of these two activities or these two attributes will make an institution or a building a school.
Okay.
And when we talk about school improvement, it is not a sporadic activity. It is an organized process to ensure school evolves as a learning organization, implying creating conditions of learning, inclusive and ensuring equity in the learning outcome. This is very important because when the schools were conceived by Horace Mann in 1837, it was conceived as teaching institutions, and that tradition of teaching institutions continued for a long time. Even today we find that many people consider the major function of the school is to teaching, and the teachers are the most important element in the process. I do not have any disagreement with the fact that teachers are very important and crucial factor in the educational process, but we have to resituate the educational system. We have to resituate schools as learning organizations rather than teaching organizations. When I say that schools should emerge as learning organizations, it makes a dramatic change in the way in which we look at schools, the way in which school activities are to be organized, and the way in which the leadership is to be provided in the school. And that is what I mean by schools and school improvements that I am talking about.
So, who made this initiative to change this whole picture from this teaching institutions to a learning institution? When did this happen? How exactly?
Essentially, it was taken for granted that if schools are opened, students come to the classrooms and teachers come to the classrooms, and if the teaching and learning process takes place, children will learn.
Right.
However, studies, especially in the 1960s, major study 1966 by Professor Coleman showed that the students are not learning what they are supposed to learn. There is a wide variation in the learnings, and what are the factors that influence that learning processes. He, after a detailed analysis of huge amount of data, came to the conclusion that perhaps schools do not matter. The children are learning, or the variations in learning achievement are as a result of the household background factors than school factors. Then the next round of changes that take place is in the late 60s and early 70s, where there is a movement that is called school effectiveness movement. There they found that this is not true. Schools can do a lot to improve the learning levels of children. Therefore, we have to intervene at the school level. So therefore, the issue moved to from teaching to learning, and how to make schools effective. And one of the ways to make schools effective, there are two partners to make a school effective. One is that the leadership, the principal or the head teacher of the school, and the teachers of course are part of that, and the other part is are the students. These two elements, that means the school head teacher, the teachers and the students make or break the learning process in a school system.
True. So you mentioned leadership. So school leadership, it's a very important part. There's school leadership, then there's school improvement. How are they connected? What is the relationship exactly between these two?
See, school leadership is an influence. So the basic difference that we find, a leader or a school leader or a head teacher and a teacher, is that a teacher is directly involved with the teaching learning process.
Okay.
And a school leader does not get directly involved with the teaching learning processes, but the person facilitates the teaching learning processes, makes the schools more effective. So it is an indirect influence. So how do we make use of this indirect influence to translate the teaching learning process into a concrete action and how it is made in terms of improved learning outcomes is that the issue that one is addressing when you talk about school leadership, you know. So school leadership is indirect, but it is engaging with the most crucial aspects for which a school is established, but teacher is directly involved with the teaching learning process and learner outcomes, and the teacher is engaged with only one classroom or one class, whereas a school leader is engaged with simultaneously with the running of organizing of 15 classrooms or 20 classrooms, all the classrooms in a school. That makes a substantial difference between who is a school leader and who is a teacher.
So, who plays a major role in this teaching learning process? The principal is involved. Is he involved equally, or he has the major role to play? The board is involved, the teachers are there, the students are there. Is it a teamwork, and who plays the most important role here?
It is very difficult to say that who plays more important role, because, you know, if you look into our body structure and say that whether heart is important or lung is important, it is very difficult for me to say that lung is important, more important than heart, or heart is more important than lungs. But the body becomes functional only when the lung and heart and other parts of the body work together.
So are you saying it's a combined effort?
It's a combined
by
effort,
all of them?
but they have very, very clearly identified roles.
Okay.
What are these identified roles? When we talk about the identified roles, how the school activities are organized is the responsibility of more of the school head or that of the principal.
Okay.
So for example, when you look into that, any school leader should have a high quality school leader should have goals and directions very clear of an institution.
Okay.
What is to be achieved in the schools in India? Basic difference between the government schools and the private schools in India are, these differences are in terms of lack of definition or internalization by the teachers and the head teachers to say that what is to be achieved, what is to be maximized. That is a confusion, that is a point of confusion. These goals are not clearly defined. Say for example, in a country like Belgium, which is one of the top scoring countries in PISA, what one finds is that the government defines the priorities. In India, in the early 90s, there was a NCERT initiated what is called as minimum levels of learning. That very clearly told a teacher that at the end of grade 1 this is to be achieved, at the end of grade 2 it is to be achieved. But you know, many a time the schools, we do not have that type of strict targets to be achieved. So a school leader needs to put the priorities in place and try to see that what is to be achieved. That is the first step.
Yes, ma'am, please.
थोड़ा सा मैं जो सर ने बात कही अभी तक उसको थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ाऊंगी। जो सर कहना चाह रहे हैं बेसिकली कि स्कूल लीडर का एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका तो है ही है, और उसके अंदर में जो उन्होंने टारगेट बनाने हैं वो उसके अंदर में सभी टीचर्स और जितने स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उनको अगर हम शुरू से ही इन्वॉल्व करें और उनका एक सामने कॉमन पर्पस रखेंगे, तो जैसा कि आज की न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी जो ड्राफ्ट एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है उन्होंने बोला है कि उसके अंदर में बहुत स्पष्ट रूप से लिखित है कि वहाँ पर एक कॉग्निटिव स्किल्स मिलनी चाहिए बच्चों को, एक हायर कॉग्निटिव स्किल जिसके अंदर में प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग का वो एटीट्यूड, और उसके अतिरिक्त उन्होंने जो सॉफ्ट स्किल्स की एम्पैथी और जो उसके अंदर में कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स के ऊपर जोर दिया है। तो वो तभी संभव हो पाएगा जब एक स्कूल लीडर जो है या स्कूल हेड है वो टीचर्स के साथ में, बच्चों के साथ में और बच्चों के अभिभावकों के साथ में, जो पेरेंट्स के साथ में भी अगर एक आपस में तालमेल और सामंजस्य स्थापित करेगा।
Okay.
So a second dimension apart from what was very ably elaborated by Dr. Sunita, apart from that, it is also very important to see that there is a level of expectation that is to be maintained by the school leader. If there are no expectations, there is no urge for us to move fast. So the difference between good schools and not so good schools, effective schools and not so effective schools, is that you put a target, you keep the expectations high and work towards that.
Okay.
A third dimension of a leadership or a good leadership will be that how school activities are organized.
Right.
How the school activities, teaching learning processes, and also non-teaching activities. I don't want to use the word extracurricular activities. I don't think that many of these activities are extracurricular. They should become form of the integrated part of the learning process itself.
Can you mention a few of these activities?
Say for example, let me say, what is more important to understand is that if a leader, school leader, is activating the energies in the at the institution level, perhaps many of the changes that can be brought out does not need additional investment of a high order.
Okay.
This is the quality of a leader. How do we reorganize the resources? When I am using the word resources, I do not mean financial resources.
Okay.
The school resources, especially the teacher resources, the facilities that are available in the school, how do we reorganize it? So let me tell you, let me take one example. Say you can have there is a school in primary section, there are 5 teachers and 5 classes.
Right.
You can, one way of allocating the teacher to the classrooms is that you allocate one teacher who will be teaching all the subjects, and they will be moving with the students the whole year. The student will not be socialized to any other teacher. That is one model. The other model is that these 5 teachers are reorganized, whereby the teacher will be coming to grade 1 teaching language in the first session. The same teacher will be going to grade 2 or 3 teaching language or any other subject. So there is a schedule and there is a timetable. Our study, empirical study, especially in Madhya Pradesh, have very clearly brought out one empirical evidence. The evidence is that in schools, or those schools where they followed these type of not allocating one teacher to the whole class, teaching all subject areas, rather than changing the teachers as per the timetable and schedule, has dramatically improved the learning achievement of the students. And why? It is not because it is the same resources, the same competencies available, but it is a redistribution, reorganization of these resources. What is the change? We went to the schools and tried to interact with the head teachers and also with the teachers and also with some of the parents in the nearby. The change that we find is that when I had to teach language in the first session, first period 15 minutes, I come prepared for that. Then I complete the class and go to the next class or to the interval or something like that. But the next teacher comes, and we found that the curriculum transaction processes completes all the text which are supposed to be completed in this, because teaching and learning becomes very scheduled, teaching and learning becomes very orderly, and teaching and learning maximizes the time. And this is something substantial. One of the major reasons for the school performances to be poor is that the learning time available at the student level is very, very low, and it varies. That is, schools start late, teachers do not come to the classrooms on time even when they are in the schools, etc. But when you arrange the teachers like this, and if you have a school teacher who monitors this, then what you find is that within the same resources, within the same teachers, by a reallocation, a minor reallocation process, you find that school resources are improved, school resources are maximized, and their returns are maximized several times. That is what I mean by what a school leadership can do. I took an example, I can take other examples when we are interacting with the teachers, etc. So these are small interventions.
Can you share any real life example?
This is the real life. This is the real life.
He went to the
So this is, it's not based on any study. This is a real
You
life.
witnessed it? You
Oh yes,
experienced
yeah, no, not on once. And over a period of time, we evaluated these changes, we calculated the changes, and then we had discussions with the teachers and also with the community and also with the head teacher.
It's been how long since you're working on
This was slightly longer. I think this was at least in the 1990s. That was the case.
It's been
But
30
the idea,
years.
the idea, no, not 25 years. The idea that how do we organize this is still valid, I think. When we discuss with the teachers even today.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that is very, very valid point, you know.
True. So you said a teacher comes prepared and then he teaches and then leaves and then another teacher comes. So the teacher comes prepared, but the students, do they cooperate as well? And how difficult or easy or it is for a leader or a teacher to go ahead with the situations with the students, because every student is different, and do they do like one-on-one counseling, or is it a team?
No. The students are never a problem in the school system. The schools are not schools fail to respond to the requirements of the students. The fault is not with the students. The fault is with the institution, the institutional culture, the institutional leadership, and with the teachers. And when I say this, say for example, when we move about RTE and when we move towards universalization of primary education, those people who would not have come to the school, who are not socialized, who has never been part of a structured learning process, they are educated, they are intelligent, but they are not they are not part of a structured learning processes in the way in which schools are conducted. They are not. So students will find it very difficult. There are difficulties of languages. So for example, if you go to a tribal area, there is no language in which the teacher can no one language in which the teacher can communicate. Because in tribal languages, so there are variations within the tribal languages, and the teacher may not be knowing the tribal languages. Even if the teacher knows one tribal language, that is not going to help. So there is a lot of things, and when these students are coming to the classroom, how do we organize the classroom? I have experienced places that in two types of arrangements with the teachers have done, which our national level institutions like mine or NCERT etc. do not recognize sufficiently, is that one, the student is studying is promoted to grade 3.
Okay.
But for mathematics, the student is put with the grade 2 students. The student is promoted to grade 4. For language, some students are put to the grade 3. So if you go by the register, school register, they are in grade 3, 4, etc. But when you organize the teaching learning processes, the teachers know that the students do not know. Say for example, if you do not know addition and subtraction, then it is very difficult for you to go to multiplication and to division. And if you do not know these 4 elements, it is very difficult to calculate fractions. So therefore, there is an element of cumulative learning process, cumulative learning deficit that is developing among the students. And if you want to address this, when all the students from all types of communities and the first generation students are coming to the schools, we need to address, and we cannot, there is no concept of class as one group of homogeneous students. They are small students, and the studies have shown very clearly that when you have small groups, all the students participate. When you have larger students, the same students participate who are more articulate, perhaps also from better families in the circumstances where their parents are educated, etc. So therefore, you create a division not in a bad sense, between those people who interact with each other, they learn together and they move and progress faster. And then there is another group in the classroom, not one group, perhaps more than one group, who are not in a position to keep that pace of development that is taking place. So if you want to change the school learning processes and the learning outcomes and the levels of learning, it is very important to see that we focus not as class as a homogeneous one group. We try to see that this is a small group. Again, this does not involve any financial implication. This is the leadership. It does not involve. So there are many things which can be done in the schools and the classrooms without any additional financial investment. Within the resources, by reallocation and reallocation, things can be done.
And things are happening. Better things.
In some cases, they are happening. In some cases, they are happening very slow. That's the difference.
At least it's happening, so let's be happy with that.
At least there is a perception that is percolating down that we need to change.
We do.
That is also a transition towards a learning, school as a learning organization.
That's happening in every field.
मैं
Please.
सर की अगर बातों को थोड़ा संक्षिप्त में कहूँगी तो सर ने जो एम्फेसाइज किया कि लीडर्स बाय पोजीशन से नहीं, लीडर्स बाय एक्शन से जो होगा, एक तो तभी बदलाव आएगा, स्कूल के अंदर में इम्प्रूवमेंट आएगा। और दूसरा जो सर ने बहुत उसके ऊपर में एम्फेसाइज किया, उसके अंदर में उनका मीनिंग यही था कि हमें जो शिफ्ट करना है इस टाइम, टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग से लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग की तरफ करना है। कि पहले टीचर जो है आके जो उन्होंने अपनी पाठ को पढ़ा दिया, तो जो बच्चों ने सीखा नहीं सीखा वो उन्होंने अपना जो है सिलेबस ख़त्म कर दिया। लेकिन उनको अब जो एम्फेसाइज करना है, बच्चों की अलग अलग डाइवर्स नीड्स को देखते हुए, लर्निंग नीड्स को देखते हुए अपनी जो टीचिंग है उसके अनुरूप ढालना है, और बच्चों के हर बच्चे की ज़रूरत को पूरा करने के लिए अलग अलग तरीके अपनाने हैं। और जो स्कूल हेड है उसको फैसिलिटेट करना है, टीचर्स को और स्टूडेंट्स को नए नए एक्सपेरिमेंट करने की लिबर्टी देनी है, तभी स्कूल इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा। सर का जो उसको संक्षिप्त में मैंने
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, so school leadership is definitely impacting the student learning, but is there any other factor we have which is equally impactful or more or less impactful?
Certainly. I will say that student learning is influenced by broadly two types of factors.
Okay.
One, school factors, other home background factors or social background factors. Children coming from better off economic condition, families with a better off economic situation or condition, they may be having newspapers in the home, they may be having journals in the home, and there may be many other books at home.
Right.
So the child is in a position to socialize with letters, sentences and cartoons etc. at home. So they know many words, they may not be knowing how to write. So their level of, at the entry level itself, their level of understanding is much better than a student coming from a very poor area, a remote area or a tribal area where the parents are illiterate, they are manual laborers, they do not have any facilities to be provided at home, not even a stool or a chair or a table at home. So they come with a lot of disadvantages. So therefore the school factors do affect, the school factors do affect, but the home background factors also influences. But what the schools can do is to maximize learning time in the schools. Let me underline the word learning time. If you see the difference between a government school and a private school in India, both the schools are functioning from 9:30 to 2:30 or 3 o'clock. But you see that by the time a child finishes 5 years of education, the hours of learning that the child is socialized to in a private school or in any school which is organized well, public or private, will be much higher than a school which is functioning less efficiently, less effectively.
Okay.
So you will find that this becomes one of the important. So my question is that how do we expand, increase learning time in the schools, and the learning elasticity of the time elasticity of learning is much higher, and that will positively contribute to student learning, apart from the teacher training and many other infrastructure facilities etc. So essentially, if all these are leading to improving effective learning time in the school, that will certainly have a positive influence on student learning.
All right. So, ma'am, do you have any message for our viewers, for all the students, for all the teachers,
जो
faculty?
आज के डिस्कशन के बाद में निकला है, तो वो दो ही मैसेज निकले हैं स्कूल हेड्स के लिए और सभी स्कूल लीडर्स के लिए। स्कूल इम्प्रूवमेंट जो है एक समग्र और विकासात्मक प्रक्रिया है। ये कुछ दिनों की प्रक्रिया नहीं है, ये लंबे समय तक निरंतर चलने वाली प्रक्रिया है। सो स्कूल इम्प्रूवमेंट इज़ ए कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एंड डेवलपमेंटल प्रोसेस। और दूसरा मैसेज बहुत ज़्यादा जो एकदम यू स्कूल हेड्स के लिए है, विद्यालय के जो प्रमुख हैं उनको सभी आयामों पर कार्य करना होगा। उनको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे, क्रिएटिंग लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ फॉर बोथ टीचर्स एंड स्टूडेंट्स और ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, इसको में उनको पहल करनी होगी। और उसके अतिरिक्त उनको एक सहयोगात्मक, एवं अधिगम वातावरण कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट बनाना है जो कि बच्चों को केंद्र में रखकर विद्यालय का समग्र रूप से विकास कर सके।
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being here, for talking to us, to all our viewers, and giving them the information they didn't have. And I want to thank all the viewers who saw this episode. If you have any questions, any queries regarding your exams, you're going to attempt the exams this year, and we have arranged for guidance for students. This is an exam helpline which is about to begin very, very soon. If you have any queries, any problems regarding your exams, you have any stress, please say it out loud. You have our email ID, which is ciet.kishoremunch@gmail.com. We even have the social media handles. If you want to reply on those, you feel free to do that. And on Monday, we'll come again with another topic, which will be prevention of bullying in schools, which is a very important topic. So I'll suggest all of you to please watch the episode, the discussion. For now, we're taking a leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you.